Alright, good evening everyone. We're ready to do more of Phoenix Wright. We are well into the 5th case. Hopefully I can finish it up tonight, so that next time I do this we'll be able to start the second game. February 24th, 12:14 p.m. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Emma didn't come back. Yeah, she was, yeah, what was the deal with her last time? Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Oh, is this McCree? Yep. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Still drinking. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know, you're a patrolman! As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? Never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at the street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. So basically, you were off somewhere else drinking while on duty. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. Can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Yeah, McCree with a shade here. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks in the evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Great. Reach for the sky. My job is to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. No desperados I know join the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. there was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner, can't say I do. Haven't been in that crypt in weeks. But we have his fingerprints. How does this guy avoid being fired? Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. Used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course, back in the day, my locker's a goldmine of evidence. And yet you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner, I ain't good with machines. Couldn't even tell you how a bike works. Damn, that's quite, incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat that parlor's Vagnoli Sepia pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, "Did you not want to raise this year?" Out of ammo, Officer Marshall? That's right, partner. Or as you call it, evidence. You plan to pin me to this crime, you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. What's he have to say about this? How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still, even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. Interred them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So in actuality, you didn't physically enter the evidence room. Evidence room floor plans. Okay, these are where we found evidence of blood. Lost item report. Okay, I feel we need to present this, but I don't know where exactly. This was the security footage. Don't know if that's relevant yet. The SL9 file. Man, this is a lot of shit we have, too.
Objection!
There we go. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this. After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, I make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there.
Objection!
But a bloody handprint? I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your bloodstained fingerprints were at the crime scene. The blood was wiped away, however, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? Seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall. About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints, found at the scene of the crime. This is gonna be good, isn't it? Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be in the same place as the blood-stained fingerprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See? I had nothing to do with it. Well, that's convenient. The witness's explanation appears valid. Although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something, I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. That's because you, how you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. And something else. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain. My locker's covered with my fingerprints. Just so happened. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one would argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. Wanna know why? They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's gotta do with breakfast, while the other's a type of murder. He's right, although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer, wearing gloves, happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood. In the desert, it's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. Security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. Oh, but it is. I know exactly what to nail you with. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video's next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Okay, here we go. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. Okay. Unfortunately, it's almost like right at the end. Here, okay, there's Goodman. He comes in. He goes to the locker. Okay, there, he opens the locker. The glove falls out, which means that might not have been Goodman, actually, because it was being held open. Okay, here comes Meekins. He confronts Goodman. He comes down with a knife. Goodman's gone. Meekins is down. There it is. In Marshall's locker. That scrap of cloth or paper or whatever it wasn't there before, but now it's suddenly there, which means Marshall opened the locker during this time.
Take that!
Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh, the white cloth. It's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order! Order! It would seem that... Hold your horses! Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Have you already forgotten the fingerprint sensor, though? Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular lock. Yeah, didn't we already go over the fingerprint sensor? Oh yeah? I'll call your bluff. You say I opened that locker? Now prove it. Oh shit. Oh, whew, okay, Only the assigned detective's prints could unlock it.
Take that!
A fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. Well, what kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. Yeah. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Yeah, put your jerky away. I got one word for you, partner. No! Okay, ready to spill it? Order! Order! Witness, explain yourself! This is a joke. It's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you, this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole, please answer the question. What is he now, bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure out the rest from here. We can. Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Okay. I know he was... I think Goodman is being considered the victim in this case, right? Even though it was Meekins that was... Meekins is the one that was being accused, right? So... Marshall was the one impersonating Goodman, wasn't he?
Take that!
Officer Marshall was standing right here. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman.
Objection!
But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Yeah, but he had to ask for ID. He didn't recognize him. Once he saw the man's face, he knew for sure, because he said he didn't know Goodman.
Objection!
May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. Yeah. When he entered the evidence room, I asked him to show him his card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me! Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer's simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it? You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. Can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Okay, you used the same insult twice. That's, you lose some points for that. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Do we? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? Edgeworth? Looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. It was to put that white cloth sticking out. That's Goodman's outfit, isn't it? Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later, as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. Oh boy. How many times have we seen this now? After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. Okay, I think I know, however. Okay, at least we can fast forward at least. Okay. I think it's going to be... There. He got blood on his clothes.
Take that!
For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat? You couldn't just walk out like that. So you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. Hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago. Comes back to this. If you're only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now, would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. Alright. Seems the time has come. It's always high noon somewhere. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. As I thought. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. Is that where Meekins was attacked? If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Okay, maybe not. Yeah, that's right. There was a large pool of blood, apparently. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. When you say it, you mean SL9, probably. You even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. That would be Goodman, right? I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I... Why'd you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card. I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. Yeah. Because he obviously lost his ID card that day. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. Oh. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Oh, hey, Noble. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could, because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. Pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off. Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. Peter? I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID? I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. Oh, yes, I did just read about that before starting. Yeah, Peter Mayhew passed away today. Guy who played Chewbacca in all the Star Wars movies. With me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and managed to escape. I knew chariots wouldn't be caught on the camera.
Hold it!
So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day... any murder in the evidence room.
Hold it!
But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim showing that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? Still missing, Your Honor. So someone got to it before he did. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer? This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. You can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. Sounds like this is personal to him, this SL9 incident. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why? Why? But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is that he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out. But there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with this incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. And I feel we'll wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I better take another look at the files. I know, Noble. This case in particular is pretty long. And this is still just the first game. I can't just forget the SL incident. perpetrator, Joe Dark, serial murder, sentence, death. Victims. Oh, Neil Marshall. He was probably related. Witnesses. Lana and Emma Skye were witnesses. Executive investigators, Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Head investigators, Bruce Goodman. This is Jake Marshall, Angels. Okay, here it is.
Objection!
Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah. Sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago. Oh. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. The case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. Oh. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the then Deputy Chief of Police. Oh, he's the guy in the lower left. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Oh, is that the guy? Damn. He definitely looks the... Yeah, Joe Dark. He definitely looks the whole serial killer part. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least, according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with this resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. Is that true? The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. We're back to Lana. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye.
Objection!
But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Objection!
Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. Seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All the mysteries of the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Seriously? That's your single word, Phoenix. I rest my case. It seems this trial's reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake, but I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant... Oh, Emma. Welcome back. Your Honor, wait. Emma. The defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Not quite. In a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dart killings. Yeah, she freaked when she heard about that and just ran out. Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky sisters were in that file. Yeah, so they were witnesses? But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found in Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So, did you find something? No. Aw. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Did your best, though. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them... Please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh, boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department... Oh, boy. Does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Yeah, what? Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, If you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Okay, let me... I need to take an... Is there anything? Okay, that print is apparently... That's a right-hand print, obviously. So, does that have significance? I don't know. Did I save this already? Better do it again, just to be safe. Yes, Your Honor? If ever I need to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? Do I object? I don't see the... Hopefully I'm not overlooking something super obvious here. I'm not sure if there's anything in the profiles. What if I say there's no problem? I've got to be honest, I don't see anything wrong with it. Still. If I give up now, Lana's gonna be convicted for sure. Okay. I guess that was a but thou must situation. This clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is that you're grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something's missing. Missing? It means something hasn't been drawn on there. Oh! I know what it is! The blue badger thingy. Something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. That stupid badger, it's been thrown at us constantly this chapter. It's been thrown in our faces non-stop. With all this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something's missing in the floor plans? There it is. Wait, present?
Take that!
What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So? So, watch what happens when we put him in. He would be right in front of that locker, right? This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Mm-hmm. Well? Well? What? Yeah, Edgy figured it out. That's right. So long as the Blue Badger's dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot in the locker. What? So that handprint had to have been made before. So this means, just what exactly does it mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma. On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? Oh yeah, if we look at it, if we look at the, where's the timestamp? That must have been at 4:50 when he brought the Badger in. Then Goodman, or Marshall, came in at 5:14. Meekins came in right. Okay. We still don't know who that 777777 is, though. And he put it after he put it down, it would have been impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched boulder dash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Yeah, the struggle between Meekins and Marshall. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is the other time, which apparently left a substantial pool of blood. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us. When did this first incident occur, as Mr. Edgeworth said? Proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Okay, the timestamps of the ID. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh, the ID card record! Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Oh! Are they gonna suspect Edgeworth? Miles Edgeworth? Just what have you done? Never would have figured you have the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. So that's your theory, Noble. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. Then what about this person that came in 20 minutes before that? That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7777777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 77777, etc. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777777. That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I am unable to look up the owner of that ID card. Why is that? At least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Oh. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. Somebody in high places, then. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
Objection!
But that's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes? No, not to you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we've looked up her ID number, and it's not 7777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? There were rumors that there was forged evidence used in that trial, wasn't there? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Ah. Lana! I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you don't... I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana... Even if it involved forging evidence. Oh, so she's admitting it. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order! 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 Oh boy. Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom couldn't be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. Holy shit. Plot continues to thicken. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Okay, yes, we just heard this like 30 seconds ago. I didn't know. I never knew the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What is that? What do you mean what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. Oh. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. Oh, so he died instead. So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. I didn't see that one coming. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage. But before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then... what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma, you've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just couldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago. It must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies, and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about it? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes. But I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. Yeah, he seemed surprised as well. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true. Even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Yeah, it seems like a strange place to suddenly show up. Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices in the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator. But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Ah. Lana used to be a detective. I'd better have another talk with her. Okay. If we can talk to her. She here? Oh, good, she is. Lana. Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details? Especially about that unusual change of jobs. I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Okay. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? Which one? I believed in you, Lana. I believed no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15, there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana, that the witness, Miss Starr, said about you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before. It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing! They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Oh, so her and Gant. Chief Gant. He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you can use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes. Deputy Chief Gant and I share the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us! Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana. It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Drake. Oh. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her after all her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence, hmm? I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident, just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall, yes. His actions come as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Did he not think that Dark killed him? Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself, the Chief's office. Maybe you should have a look at the Chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. That does sound like... That sounds like a good idea. Let's see. Access it through here. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kind of quiet around here today. You're right. Chief of Detectives seems the same, though. Why don't we look for some other people to talk to? Right. We can come back here later. Hey, McCree. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. Never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Okay, Sarah. Never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? Should've known my luck would run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you heading? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Ah, yes, after everything you did before, huh? Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But Mr. Marshall, why'd you do it? A lot of prospectors head west. If ever there was a case I need to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. Wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with a broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife wasn't a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. Scars the SL9 incident left behind. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Yes. Yeah, Marshall was demoted. Star was fired. Yeah, Miss Star was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? Yeah, it seems like he was still... They did something to him, too. The commissioners would have gotten suspicious. No, they're careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Huh? The investigation lead, Damon Gant, and his second-in-command, Lana Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. So those two in particular went up, while the rest of you went down. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret. It all started 2 years ago. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the, King of Prosecutors. I knew it. Why are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right. It's the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning. By nightfall, there was thunder. Can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Oh. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad. bad I won't be around to work with you. When you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. So long, Marshall. Riding off into the sunset. Let's see. Do we need to go to the parking lot? Not sure from where we access the chief's office. No one's here today. Not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into exactly what went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. We proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. High Prosecutor's Office. I think this is it. Oh, no. Well, wait. Maybe there's something here. Mr. Edgeworth isn't here. Maybe he's being questioned by an inquiry committee. He took a real beating in court today. Yeah, with Lana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago. I guess we'll just have to come back later. Okay, we were there before. I thought we were supposed to... Oh, here we go. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. Chief Prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth. Not to mention our statement to the media in our tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Not now, Kitty. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Emma, you had to say that. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. What were we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Here we go. Oh my god, what is this Phantom of the Opera shit here going on? God damn. Whoa, where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. Really? I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. Oh my god! Oh, I never could remember where C was. Oh, Emma. Uh-oh. Oh god, you got the big boss man's attention. Hello, Gan. Oh, it's you two! Chief Gan. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. And what is that? So, Righto, have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kinda busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct. And Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? You mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? Yeah, I did see that. Oh. That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. Yeah, the trophy. The trophy in that picture has a sword on it, but not... Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh. But this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case is long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with yet after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the Chief's office. And we know what that means. Going around clicking on random shit and seeing what we missed again. Hopefully not, but... Hi, Dick. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe, are you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. Oh, you were left out of the meeting, weren't you? From staying so long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Really? Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle's between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Sky's the guilty party here, isn't she? Oh, probably not a good thing to say in front of her. Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor has kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know for making enemies. Hey, Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime, my treat. Yes, sir. Gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. Seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Anyway, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Dark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean... when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl. Yeah, Emma. Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was that girl. That's when he left behind the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forgot. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe you should show him the murder weapon. Might jog his memory. Ah, good idea. Oh wait, we have to... about this. Hey, is that... It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodwin was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. And it was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. Yes, it was stuffed in there, wasn't it? Was it evidence that was stolen from Goodman's locker that day? That's it! Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. What is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again! Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. Businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So it was an accident. An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? He killed the man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady who saw the second crime. A kid walked by just then, so he killed him too. As soon as he was burying the bodies, a jogger came on scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Yeah, no kidding. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in? Yes, but in the middle of his question, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. The crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. Good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness. AKA Emma. Okay, and the murder weapon? This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at, plus it had his fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, yes? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, really. Yeah, well anyway, take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Or was it? Victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. Ah. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet, down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Stabbed in the back, died from a punctured heart and lung. A knife tip was found in the wound. Okay. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? It's money you need. You should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern the Chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The Chief's out now and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What, really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust. Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. Oh. Well, how about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. Ah, yes. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Oh. Yeah, exactly. So in other words, Gumshoe's our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something we'd show him that will make him change his mind. Like what? Can we show? That's the ID card record, isn't it? Yes. There's only one number left to investigate at 4:20 p.m. The victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence room with someone else. Someone with an executive officer number. 7777777. That's 17 too many, Detective. An executive officer. I just might have a hunch. Well, advice with you as a detective. Don't have a clue, keep your trap shut. Okay. I've been staying up on these files. There's nothing wrong with Mr. Edgeworth's presentation. I think people are accusing him of injustice. I, for one, ain't buying it, pal. You're looking into the case for Mr. Edgeworth? Yeah, it's a pretty big deal when what's going on, you know. After all, serial killer was on the loose. But Lana was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dart guilty. About that jar, I think I've seen it before somewhere. Somewhere? Or maybe it's one of those memories people have from previous lives. This must be the most uninformative detective I've ever met. Something about it makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in the Chief's office and he's yelling at me. Chief Gant? Where could I have seen that before? Yeah, if we look at this, you can see that urn in the background there. What else can we... Oh, a lost item report, huh? Very impressive, Detective. You knew what it was right off the bat. Well, I'm a master of misplacement, you know. Ah, master. That has such a cool ring to it. The way I see it, if things are meant to be lost, then they're meant to be lost. There's a higher power at work here. Wow, a higher power. Maybe I shouldn't let Emma hold any evidence. Hey, I just bought some of that stuff. Now I can go around detecting blood traces too. Wow, is that a new type? I've never seen that bottle before. Add 3 inches to your base height. Oh, base height. Let me see that. Looming tall, new and improved growth formula. Oh my god. You mean this can't detect any blood traces? Well, it's not quite the same thing as luminol. So that's why the lady at the counter had that smirk on her face. Oh, dick. Hey, that's it! That's the Camp Prosecutor's Award that Mr. Edgeworth got the other day. Were you at the awards ceremony, Detective? Of course, pal. I got awards for diligence myself. Oh, I think he told us about this before. Yeah. Already showed that. What is there? Unless there's another piece of evidence I have to find. Oh, you knew Officer Marshall? Of course I do. He was like a mentor to me. When I first started out, he even gave me a small cactus. Really? He said, "Dick, she'll listen to all your troubles." Note to self, Detective Gumshoe talks to a cactus. Hard to believe he's just a patrolman now. Someone ought to trade places with him. What? Why are you looking at me like that? No locker can be opened without a fingerprint match. Besides, there's no reason for the murderer to touch his own locker. Hey, wasn't your locker the one with the blood on it, Detective? The handprint of the real murderer's gloved hand. Without any fingerprints. Shh. They come to arrest me, you'll defend me, won't you? If that happens, I think you'll do better pleading with Edgeworth. I feel like I presented him with everything. Hey, that power's used for detecting fingerprints. Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth gave it to us. He did what? All I have is some flour. Oh, God. Are you okay, Detective? Quick, run! Achoo! Oh, jeez. This ain't help. One time I took a nap on a bench with wet paint. Why am I not comforted? Okay, we have no. It's for Mr. Stark. Miss Starchhood. Okay, we already talked about that. Well, I think I'm at that point where I'm gonna take a quick break, and when I come back, we'll see what else we need to uncover. Maybe we need to go talk to somebody else now. So I'll see you guys in just a few minutes.